Ever since I was a child, I've heard the origin story of St. Stephen's so many times.
Welcome to St. Stephen's School, located on a hilltop dedicated to the recovery of man.
St. Stephen's has a history that we should be proud of, and that doesn't end when you graduate.
Education here shall be personal without being prejudicial, and above all, rooted and grounded in the Christian faith.
I always just like to imagine what that must have felt like to be able to come to this place.
My father's name was Bill. He was also William Brewster, the founding headmaster of the school, and I'm an alumnus. I graduated in the summer of 1951. Those actions that he took and the thought that he might integrate the school just pushed it over the edge. After my father came down here about 3 different times and chose this site and chose the name of the school. He had attended a St. Stephen's school in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. And he decided, that is a very good name. So that's the beginning.
So this was started very much as an experiment, coeducational boarding school, tucked out in the middle of nowhere.
There was no campus. This was a plot carved out of the Rob Roy Ranch.
I think it used to be a goat farm.
The only people that were within 4 or 5 miles of us were cedar choppers.
The interest at the very beginning that my father had was in this nearly Frank Lloyd Wright style and the Southwest style. I was involved as a teenager, as a 15, 16-year-old, in breaking rock and bringing it to the campus, and then being assigned to a carpenter and helping out in roof construction. It was all boarding. In fact, I lived in the dorm too.
As a 12-year-old, it was frightening because you didn't know anybody when you first arrived, and you didn't know anything. We didn't have cell phones, we didn't have all that kind of communication. What was different about St. Stephen's, I've come to realize, we had more probing questions about things, more demands for knowing information. And we also competed not just physically in sports, but we competed intellectually. It was much more than a school. I felt like it was a family. I felt like it was my family. Our class, our graduating class of 58, confirmed that you could have a coeducational boarding school, and it would work.
St. Stephen's was an integrated school during a time of racial segregation, especially in Central Texas.
There was a very dark period for this school back in the 70s. I wasn't sure it was going to make it. But now I'm confident it's never going to look back. And I think that's all about leadership.
I came here and I was like, I'm from the Middle East. No one's gonna know anything about that part of the world. The minute I got here, I felt at home.
There's so much offered here on campus. It is freedom for the family because they, of course, their academic life, their athletic life, fine arts life, all of these things can be nurtured and flourish and it all happens here.
Coming from the Bahamas wasn't the most disciplined. Coming to St. Stephen's just made me a more well-rounded individual.
St. Stephen's has really shaped my worldview and curiosity.
For me, it's when I first got drafted to the NBA, I went to Brooklyn, and that's just a big city for a 19-year-old. And every day I think living on campus, finding that independence, just be able to grow as a person here.
I mean, St. Stephen's really shaped me into the person that I am now. The teachers here changed my life. The students who come here whose lives will be changed and who will go out into the world and do all kinds of different things, but will be influenced by the values of the school and will be a force for good in the world.
Education here shall be personal without being prejudicial, and above all, rooted and grounded in the Christian faith. Welcome to St. Stephen's School.
I think he would be absolutely amazed if he delved into the curriculum. He would just feel so fulfilled.